Hello everybody, this is Christian coming at you with a U23 editor tutorial. Today we're gonna make a really small map where I'll show you some of the basics and some of the more advanced features. First of all, I will be going through the interface and then whiteboxing our level, meaning we're only going to build without any materials or any meshes. First of all, this is our viewports. This can be configured however you want it. You can push view, viewport configuration, and here you have all the different types of splits. I like the 1x2 because then you have some easier viewports for measurements and the big one for the 3D graphics. As you see on your left side here, you have a different types of cubes and cylinders and stuff like this. This is the brushes, represented by the red builder brush that you see in the middle. This is what you actually build the geometrical forms after. So in our level we will be building something that's going to look something like this. Oops. Ta-da. So I went ahead and built the level before this tutorial just to show you what we're working for. But as I said, first of all, we're just gonna whitebox this level without any meshes or materials. So let's get started. I'm gonna select additive, not subtractive. So this means that we're adding stuff into the universe, not subtracting from the universe. Like, say, a cave, for example. So I'm just gonna start off by building our first square room, which is gonna be 1024 times 1024, and even 1024 in height as well. These numbers represent Unreal units, which is Unreal's own measurements units. And now to build within this cube, we have this button here called CSG add. Just going to click that, and as you can see, our first room, pretty simple. For our second room, we're going to use this cylinder shape. So you just click that and right click it again, and you'll get the parameters up. This is also going to be 1024 in height, and the radius is going to stay as is, 512. Now if you select the red builder brush in the top viewport, just move it and align it with the wall from our square room, like so. If you see down here in the right corner, you have something called snap to grid or toggle drag to grid. I don't use this much, but it's really handy for some geometrical shapes, but for the cylinder I wouldn't recommend using it. If you zoom out a bit on your bottom viewport, the side viewport, we could have a look and see if everything is lined up on the floor level as well. Looks like it, so we could just go ahead and press add, and voila, we got our circle room. Now what I'm going to do here, because this isn't hollow, we're going to take another cylinder, resize it by 16 units, which would be 1008 and 496 to make this hollow. Build that, and as you can see now we got ourselves some walls. Now if you just press the other button that's called subtract, you will subtract from the mass we just added. So voila, we get ourselves a nice cylinder formed room. The reason we can't do hollow on cylinders is that you won't get any floors or roofs or ceilings if you use the hollow, so this is way easier. And now for our third room, which is also going to be a squared off room. We already set the parameters for that, so you could just build it, drag it on top of the cylinder. I like to use this top viewport because it's a lot easier to measure and line things up. Just gonna make sure everything is lined up nicely here. There we go. And then we can just double check with the side viewport. A little bit closer. There we go. And add. And fast as that, we got 3 rooms in white box. So what we're gonna do now is test this out, but before we do that, we gotta need some light. If you see on your top left here, you could switch between the way the rooms are shown. If we click the lit button, you can see there's no lighting, and that's the case for our level now. There's no lighting, so you can't see anything. So we're gonna do something about that. If you right click and go to the add actor and add point light, you get a light, and you can zoom out and see the radius that this light covers is way bigger than this room, so it's gonna fit nicely. Now again, you can use your side viewports to line this up, to get it perfectly lined up. Now we need to build to try this out. What this means is we need to construct the level that we just designed. So if you see on your top frame here, we have a lot of different buttons to build with. I usually just use build all when I'm building white boxes. But yeah, you can build individual lights, path nodes and stuff like that. But yeah, just press build all. As you can see, you get some brush errors, but that's nothing to worry about. And if you right click on the ground now and press play from here, you'll see that we actually spawn in our cylinder form room. Now the obvious problem is that we haven't connected the rooms with each other, so that's what we're going to do next. So if you click your cube again, we're going to make ourselves a door. This door is going to be 256 times 256 in height, and let's see if that makes sense. Yes, it does. We can set the Y value to be 256 as well, and I guess it's the X value that needs to be shortened down. There we go. And you can toggle off hollow as well, because we're just going to subtract from the universe again. There we go. Fit that nicely between the 2 rooms. I'm not going to get too detailish when it comes to lining stuff up, because I'm trying to do this a bit quick. There we go. Now we can just subtract, and voila, we have a nice door. Now that we already lined this up, we could just pull the builder brush over to the other room, like so. Make sure it's lined up from the top viewport, and subtract again. And there we go, 2 doors. If we build now and do the same play tests, you'll see that we have our center room is lit, but our 2 other rooms are not lit. So what we could do is just copy our light that we put in earlier and put 1 in each room. Oops. Then again, it's a lot easier to use the top and side viewports to level these things out. I'm going to build again and have a quick look. Nice, nice. Okay, so to make this room a little bit more interesting, we're gonna add another level, another floor. And to start that off, we're gonna do it in the center room. So find your cylinder brush again. We're gonna resize it quite a bit. This Z axis is only gonna be 30 this time, because we're just adding a second floor. It's going to be hollow, So if you build now, you'll see you get this circled second floor looking brush. And make sure you line them up perfectly with the sides. And again, this could be a bit tricky if you have on Snap2Grid. I would not recommending lining cylinders up with Snap2Grid because it'll mess you up. Now this doesn't need to be 100% perfect, but yeah, this looks good. And now you see we need to adjust the height of it. Not too high, not too low. But this looks like a good height. And we also need to make the inner radius a bit smaller, so let's see, 240 about. I think that'll be good. That looks good. So let's just add that and see what we got. Second floor. If we build now and playtest this, you'll see our second floor. Now, as you can see, since we only have one light above the second floor, the looking up on the second floor is going to be really dark. So what we're going to do is just duplicate this light, put it a bit up and duplicate it. So we have two lights. This should solve the problem of the dark areas. Now what I want to do is make a bridge that comes into each of the square rooms and then make a doorway. Yeah, let's get into that. Select your cube brush again, build it so we know where it is. This time the x-axis is going to be 720, almost the length of the square room but not in its complete. And the z-axis is going to be as wide as the center second floor, which was 30. And the y-axis is going to be 256 because that's the width of the doorway. You can just build that, and you can see in our top viewport that we got our builder brush in the center room. Just going to move it into one of the rooms first and line it up. There we go. Just going to make sure that looks good in the 3D world as well. And check the heights in the side views. Looks good. And we can just add this. And while we got the brush set up for the bridge, we could just pull it over to the second room and do the same here. So as you can see, white boxing can be pretty fast and efficient for prototyping ideas and stuff like that. Add, and voila, we got our bridges. Now this is also going to create some issues with the lights, so what we should do is, as we did in the center room, pull this light a bit up and duplicate it. So we have one above and one below. Just going to pull this